Hi, my name is Tori Ferrari, and I'm the Center Director for Teen Challenge of Arizona's Springboard Home for Youth in Crisis. Today we're going to be talking about how to prevent teen drug use in your home and in your community. The first thing that you need to understand to help prevent teen drug use is how important communication is. Beforehand, before somebody starts using drugs, whether it's your own teen or somebody in your family, somebody in your community, the first thing you need to do is start talking to them, letting them know about the dangers and the risks associated with drug use. Let them know the financial risks associated with drug use, the financial stress. The fact is that the average heroin addict spends between $150 and $200 each day to support their habit. $150 to $200. Talking to a teen who's making minimum wage about the financial stress that drug use can start bringing them can sometimes prevent them ever going down that road. Talk about some of the health risks. What are the risks of starting to smoke or to drink or to start using prescription drugs? Start talking to them about the health risks at a young age. Just make it part of your everyday conversation. When something comes up in the news about a drug overdose, look at that as an opportunity to sit down and just casually, as you're in the car, say, hey, did you hear about what happened? Or did you know that they just found this out about drugs? Have that be part of your everyday conversation with your teen. Talk about the negative lifestyles that are associated with drug and alcohol addiction. One of the greatest things that you can do is find a homeless shelter or an opportunity to serve the homeless community within your own community. What you'll find as you're doing that and you're bringing your teen or your preteen along with you to do that is sitting down and having conversations with some of these people that are now homeless. Many of them, most of them, have struggled with drug and alcohol addictions. Giving your teenager or your pre-teenager the opportunity to sit down and hear firsthand from somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of hope right now really kind of sends the message across, sometimes more than when parents talk about it. Let them hear the stories firsthand from somebody who's there, experiencing the negative impacts in their lives. Assume for a minute that maybe a teenager in your life has already started using drugs. It's important that they always understand the opportunity to communicate with you. Whether you're a teacher or a parent, a minister, a community leader, somebody that has an opportunity to work with teenagers, make sure that they know that the door is always open, that regardless of their situation, you're a safe person for them to come and talk to. They can talk honestly about the things they're struggling with, either the temptations or sometimes the things they've stumbled into. Communication is critical. If they think that there's no one they can talk to and honestly get help, then they'll shut down and they'll just keep doing what it is that they're doing. And you may not find out about it until it's too late. So the first important thing is communication. The second thing is parents or teenagers, whatever your role is acting as a role model. Kids will act the way they see you act. One of the things I hear a lot of times from the young ladies I get the opportunity to work with is that it was really hard for them to hear their parents say, don't do drugs, don't smoke weed, don't drink, and then to see their own parents doing it in their home. It's really hard for somebody who's 14 years old and keeps hearing the message, don't drink, don't drink, don't drink, and yet their parents are drinking heavily on the weekends or every night after work. And so, yes, is it legal for you as a parent to drink? It is. But does it help your teenage daughter or teenage son for them to see you do that? No, not necessarily. Be a role model. Act the way it is that you want them to act. Be responsible. And your first responsibility is not to drink safely or use drugs safely. Your first responsibility is to parent wisely. So the second thing is make sure you're acting as a role model. The third thing is limit exposure to bad influences that your kids can experience. Did you know that over 50% of teens will use or abuse harmful substances if they see friends or family members or close acquaintances use them? If you know that a friend of the family drinks a lot or is abusing a certain substance, limit the exposure to that person. It's going to send a message. It sends the message, if you allow them to be over there all the time to Uncle Joe's house and Uncle Joe is drunk most of the time, it sends the message that you're okay with that. You don't have a problem with that lifestyle, that you're condoning it. And it sends the wrong message. Limit the exposure. Know who your kids are hanging out with. You've probably heard me say it over and over again. You need to know who your kids' friends are and who your kids' friends' parents are. The days of getting to know our friends' parents, sometimes we let go of that. Once they reach a certain age, we figure they're being responsible in their choices. When they're little, we'd never think of letting them go over to somebody's house without knowing the parents or knowing what kind of environment our kids would be walking into. Sometimes it's even more important as they grow older and they're becoming teenagers. Sometimes the influences have greater opportunity to influence as they get older. So know who your friends, the friends of your kids are, and who their families are. What kind of influences? What are their older siblings like? Never discount some of the things that you may hear. You may hear that so-and-so got in trouble, and it's the older brother of one of your kids' friends. Don't dismiss that. Pay attention, and make sure that you're limiting exposure to bad influences. One of the best ways you can do this, make your home the home that they come and gather in. Make your home inviting to your kids and their friends. If it's your home, you know what's happening. You know who's there. You know what you allow and what you don't. So communication, it's critical. Always be communicating with your kids. Find out what they're doing, what they're involved in, the insignificant things. It may be insignificant to you, but it may be something significant to them. Build that link of communication early and often. Make sure you're a role model to your kids. You're the first place they're going to look on how they need to act. Believe it or not, even though it doesn't feel this way as parents of teens, you still are the greatest obstacle between them and drug and alcohol addiction. And the final thing, limit exposure to bad influences. If you're seeing something that you don't like in your kids' behavior or in their attitude, figure out where it's coming from and then limit exposure to whatever it is. I'm Tori Ferrari, Center Director for Teen Challenge of Arizona's Springboard Home for Youth in Crisis. Give us a call, 520-887-8773. Thank you.